Hello and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle for Monday the 26th of April 2021. This is an easy level Sudoku, so if you're here for the very first time, you're going to dip your toe in the beautiful pool of Sudoku water. Welcome, and I'll explain to you how to play the game. Even if you've never played before, don't worry, after today you'll be able to play the game at a basic level, so stick with us. Just before that, I often like to talk about things that I've spotted in the news that take my interest, and today's hideous story, unfortunate story, is that in India the deaths and the infection rate just keeps mounting. Here in Thailand, we're also going in the wrong direction where infections are increasing. And for the first time yesterday, we had a couple of thousand new infections in one day, which is really bad by Thai standards. But in India, they had 2,700 something deaths, 2,767, I believe, deaths in one day. The crematoriums can't even keep up. And they had almost 350,000 infections, new cases in a single day. This is dreadful. Come on, government of India, people of India, local authorities in India, and global companies that could supply vaccines at reduced rates or free or help with distribution, please do so for the rest of the world. People in rich countries manage to many people have already been vaccinated, both shots, and in some cases there may even be a surplus of vaccine. People in the rest of the world are in severe demand. So come on, planet, let's get with it. Right now, how do we play Sudoku? So your first time ever, don't be nervous. If this is your first time at Sudoku, don't worry about it. I'll be gentle with you. Right. We have a large grid which has 9 squares across, 9 squares down, that we sometimes call squares, we sometimes call cells. Doesn't really matter what you call them, as long as you can see they're little square blocks. And you can see that there's enough space in each of them to write a large number. And that's the object. So since there are 9 across here, we write the numbers 1 to 9 in each of these rows across. And there are 9 columns down, so we write the numbers 1 to 9 in each of these columns down. And you'll have noticed these lines which delineate boxes. And there are also 9 of those, and within each 3 by 3 box, there are, of course, 9 squares. Don't worry if your maths is not good. This is nothing to do with maths. It's purely a game of logic. And so how do we go about finding the numbers to fill in? Well, for example, look at this. A nice example to begin with here. We know that there is a 3 in this. This 3 appears in this row, this column, and this box. What we're interested in is that it appears in this column, because since there are only 9 squares, and we have a 3 already, it clearly can't appear again, so therefore is blocked from these 3 squares. And when we notice that, well, we'll say, look, hey, there's only one more free space where the 3 can go. And so put it in, because we found a number. It wasn't that easy and painless. And so this is how we go about playing the game of Sudoku. We look for possibilities and look for exclusions and find, well, what is left? Can it go there? That's really what we're doing. This 1 in this column here clearly cannot appear in any of these 3 squares. These 3 squares too. But we're really targeting this box at the top here, so that's out. There's a 1 in this top row here blocking these 3 squares along the top, and there's a 1 in this row here blocking all of the squares in this row. So if you imagine a kind of blocking up here, kind of blocking across the top, and an ant, excuse me, you'll see that there's only one place where we can fit a 1. And now that we've done that, that will help us to find the 1 down here, because look, this 1 blocks all the way down here, this 1 blocks all the way down here, and when we do that, these 2 columns are blocked, leaving us just one location where we can fit a 1. And now we'll notice that there's only one square left in this column. And if there's only one square left, we must know what the missing number is, right? Just by counting through. In fact, we have to count through right to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last number is 9. Okay. Still not too difficult, right? But you might be thinking, well, okay, I could do that. That seems like it might be a little boring if that's all we do. Well, that's not all we do. We can do other things too. Let's see if I can find any other things. Yeah, I can. Okay, so here's something a bit more advanced. Now, if this is your first time at Sudoku, you may be worried about this, but may not see this first time, but I'll explain it and you will see it later. There is an 8 blocking along this row here, and there is an 8 blocking along this row here, right? So in this box here, only these 2 squares are available for 8. Do you agree? And there is a 9 blocking along here, and a 9 blocking along here. So there are only these 2 same squares available for 9. So we know that 8 and 9 have to go in these 2 squares here. So okay, can you remember that? If you can't remember, I'll show you what we have here. These things are called pencil marks, and they are little reminders that we can give ourselves as to what numbers can go where. So now we know that we have 8 and 9 here. Well, this tells us something important. It tells us that 8 and 9 can't go anywhere else, but it also tells us that no other number can go in here because these are limited to just 2 numbers, 8 and 9. Logically, nothing else can go there. And now that we know that, when we look at number 4, we target digit 4 for this block here. We see that there's a 4 blocking up this column here, and there's a 4 blocking along this row. So we are blocked here and blocked here. But remember, effectively, we are also blocked from these 2 squares because they have to be 8 or 9. And so a 4 goes there. That was nice, wasn't it? Did you enjoy that? Okay, so as I said, it's, not quite, there isn't just one technique to follow, but let's get back and do some more easy stuff. 2 along here, 2 along here. That's the only space we can fit at 2. By the way, I don't look at these puzzles ever before I start playing the game, so I have no idea before we begin just what to look for. I'm just looking at the same speed as you are if you're watching this video and haven't tried to play the game yet. 7 up in this column, 7 up in this column, and here's a 7 here. Okay. Right, what else is missing? So we have a 6 in this row, a 6 in this row, so that square there has to be a 6, doesn't it? Okay. Okay. This is quite interesting as a beginner puzzle. It's quite good, I think. Okay, there's a 6 in this column blocking these 3 squares, 6 in this column blocking these 3 squares, and a 6 across here. So blocked, blocked, and blocked, giving us just this space here to fit a 6. Excuse the motorbike noise. It's quite, quite, it's not difficult, but it's quite difficult for a beginner puzzle. um, Usually I expect to see something slightly easier on a Monday for the Guardian. It's not difficult for me, but for a beginner, it may seem a bit tricky. When you're learning at first, right, these kind of things can be tricky. So what can I show you that's not too difficult? Not a great deal, actually. There we go. Found it at last. I knew there was something in here. Right, okay, now this column, okay, does not yet have a 7. Do you agree? Now we have a 7 here, so you might go, oh yeah, look, 7 blocking that square there. But think about it. The 7 is already in this box, and that means we can only have 9 numbers in this box. So the 7 doesn't only block this square here, it also blocks this square and this square, because in the same box, 7 blocks these 3 squares. Up here we have an intersecting, so that limits us to these 2 squares, right? And here we have an intersecting 7 here. So there is in fact only one place where we can fit 7. It's got to go there. And weirdly enough, that's going to get us a long way now. I've noticed, I mean, I've looked ahead. Like I said, I don't play these puzzles before I start, but I look ahead at what's likely to come a bit further than a beginner can probably. So I've seen that that's going to help us a lot, because I notice now that in this row along the top we are missing 2 numbers, which are 3 and 5. But look, we have an intersecting 3 blocking this square here from being a 3, and so a 3 will have to appear here like so, and that's got to be a 5. And now there's only one number left here, which is a 3, and over here we see that this 3 blocks these 2 squares, so that's got to be a 3 there. So as I said, I thought that would spot quite a lot. There's 5 here, blocks this square. We don't yet have a 5 in this segment, so 5's got to go there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We don't yet have a 4 in this segment, and so that's the last number there. I hope that wasn't too fast for you. We sometimes get this, like, get a little roll going, do you know? You can see several numbers and they appear pretty quickly. So all of that was because we spotted this 7. So once we got that 7, that allowed us to see that this was a 5 because it was blocked by this 3. And that top section now is almost complete. Not quite, but certainly we've made progress there. So, what else is missing? Sometimes it's helpful to know what these 2 numbers are. If you see 2 numbers missing in a row or a column, good idea to check what they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have 5, 6. We don't have 7. So this is a 5 and a 7. We don't know which is which yet, but I'm going to put in these pencil marks again to show you how to do this and to illustrate, what to do. And when you play on the harder level puzzles, you will need to use pencil marks, I believe, unless you are some kind of genius who likes to keep all the numbers in your head, or you like to torture yourself. And there are players who like to torture themselves without filling in these candidates, or pencil marks as we sometimes call them. That's their own choice. It's not my choice. Right, now we can see a 1 across this row here, and a 1 across this row here, and a 1 down this column. And so there's only one space where we can fit a 1. And now that we do that, the 1 down this column, 1 down this column, and 1 across here gives us just that space there left to fit a 1. And that was the final digit 1. So we've got 1s now in every section. So we can forget about that digit, just concentrate on other numbers. There is an 8 blocking this column. This square in this column cannot be an 8. There is an 8 across this row, so this square is blocked by this 8. these two squares are blocked by this 8, and so 8 goes here. And now that we've got that, we can bring it across like this, blocking this row. This 8 blocks this row, and this 8 very close by gives us an 8 in this square here. Now if you remember, we had these exclusive numbers of 8 and 9, this pair in these two squares. You'll find in Sudoku terminology a few different terms. Some people call them naked pairs, some people call them matching pairs, whichever you prefer. Anyway, it doesn't matter, or just a pair. We have 8 or 9. Clearly it can't be an 8 now, can it, because that 8 is already in this column. So that one has to be the 8 and that one has to be the 9. I hope you're enjoying the logic here. It's kind of often binary, you know, it's a yes or a no. Life is not as simple as that, of course, just being able to choose yes or no, but Sudoku is often binary. So there's a 4 across here, like this, blocking these 2 digits here, and that will allow us to place a 4 in that location there. And then let's count through, because look, there's only one square missing, empty square I should say, in this column. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We might count through again, it's a 9. Okay, now this 9 blocks this square here. We don't yet have a 9 in this segment here, so we can fill that in there. The last number here, if you count through, you'll find is a 3, so we can put that 3 in there. The two numbers that are missing here are 4 and 5 in this column, but that doesn't really help us yet. We can't really do anything over here with 4 or 5 just yet, so I won't put the candidates in for that. I'll leave that for the moment. What's missing down here? 1, we don't yet have a 2, and we don't yet have a 9 in this column, in this row, sorry, across here. Getting my columns and rows mixed up. This 9 blocks this square from being a 9, so clearly that is our 9 and that is our 2. Okay, shall we count through and see what's missing in this column, because there are only 2 empty squares. So 1, 2, 3, we don't yet have a 4, but hey, look, there's a 4 intersecting this square, so quickly we can fill in the 4, and then we can count through and find the last missing number, and we'll see that it's a 5. So in it goes. What's missing down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 and 9 are the 2 missing squares here, but guess what? There's an intersecting 9. So that's our 9, that's our 6. This 6 will block these 2 squares here. This 6 blocks this square here, so that's our 6. Now we only have one number to get across here, and if we count, we'll see it's a 5. And now we can come back up to the candidates that we wrote in, this 5 and 7. Clearly that can't be a 5, can it, because we have a 5 here now, so that's got to be a 7, and that's got to be a 5. Now there's only one number missing along here, 1. We don't yet have a 2, so in goes the 2. Okay, there's 6 across this, 6 across this row here, 6 across this row here, and 6 in this column here. Means that that square there has to be a 6. This 2 down here blocks this square, so that has to be a 2. And the last number for this segment is 7, so we fill that in. Okay, let's see, we haven't looked at this segment here for a while. Let's see what's missing. 2, 7, this is useful. It's 2, 7 and 4. Okay, we have 1, we don't have 2, 3, we don't have 4, 5, 6, we don't have 7. 2, 7 and 4, so we have 3 missing numbers in this column here. Now this is a new one for newbies. Pay attention. a learning exercise here. We have 3 squares, right? We know the missing numbers are 2, 4, and 7. But in this row here, we see a 7 intersecting here, and we see a 2 intersecting here. So if it's not 7 and it's not 2, but we were limited to 3 numbers, then clearly it has to be a 4, right? There, that wasn't difficult logic either, was it? But that kind of thing will get you very far in Sudoku. Now that we've found that 4, we'll see that this 4 blocks these 3 squares here. This 4 blocks this square. So that's a 4 there. We bring this 4 across, this 4 across, this 4 down. We'll see that that's a 4 there. Only one number missing here now, which is a 7, so we'll fill that in. 7 blocks this square from being a 7. We don't yet have a 7 here, so there we go. The last number in this segment is 2. If this looks a bit fast, you can replay the video. 2 blocking here, 2 blocking along here, and that's our 2. One number missing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's a 5. We don't yet have a 5, so let's fill in our 5 there. This 5 blocks this square, this 5 blocks this square. That clearly is a 5. One number missing here, one number missing here. It doesn't matter which way we go first. Let's see, 1, 2, we don't have a 3 yet, so we'll get a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's an 8. Over here now, 1, 2, well, we don't have a 3 yet, but 3 blocks there, so that's our 3. And the last number is 9, and that's our beginner level puzzle. Could be your first ever Sudoku puzzle, or if you've just played once or twice before. I hope you learned something new there. But Sudoku has a lot of techniques and years of gaming fun. Even if you thought that was simple, I promise you it gets a lot more difficult when you start getting up to the harder level puzzles and the expert level puzzles. There's lots of different logic techniques to learn about and put to use. So thank you for joining me today. There should be another reasonably easy puzzle tomorrow, so if you've managed to conquer today's grid, come back again tomorrow, try again, try subscribing to this channel please, and subscribe to other Sudoku channels if you have the chance. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again. Bye bye.